All right, today we're going to tackle something that, let's be honest, can be a little intimidating for a lot of us, the Western style menu. So let's jump right in and figure this thing out. We've all been there, right? You sit down, the waiter hands you this beautiful menu, and suddenly you're staring at words like starter, entree, course, and you just kind of freeze up. You're thinking, where do I even start? Well, you can relax because there's actually a real logic to it all. It's like a story that every meal is trying to tell. And that's what we're going to do today. We're going to decode that story so you can feel like a pro no matter where you're eating. So, first things first, let's talk about the basic blueprint of the meal. It's not just a random list of food. No, there's a specific flow to the whole thing, and honestly, it's way simpler than it looks. The most basic building block is something called a course. Just think of it like an act in a play. Each course has a specific job to do, and it shows up at a very specific time. And that whole journey, it almost always follows this super simple three-part structure. First, you want to stimulate your appetite, get it woken up. Then, you satisfy your hunger with the biggest dish. And finally, you sweeten everything up to end on a really nice note. Stimulate, satisfy, sweeten. See? Easy. So let's dive into Act 1, the opening act. This is the part that really sets the mood for everything that's about to come. This brings us to the appetizer, which you'll also see called a starter. Its entire job is to wake up your taste buds and get you excited for what's next. But, and this is key, without actually filling you up. It's basically the movie trailer for your meal. So what are we talking about here? Well, usually it's something nice and familiar. You know, like a warm bowl of soup, a simple crisp salad, or maybe just some really good bread with butter. These are the classics for a reason. They do that first job perfectly. Stimulate. Okay, our appetite is officially ready to go. Now it's time for the main event. This is the moment we've been building up to, the absolute star of the show, the main course. The main course is pretty much the heart of the entire meal. It's the biggest, the most substantial, and usually the most complex dish. It's almost always built around a protein, like a good steak, some fish, or a really hearty vegetarian dish. This is the satisfy part of our little journey. But even the biggest movie star needs a great supporting cast to really shine, right? Well, the main course is exactly the same. It almost never comes out alone. It has its companions, the side dishes. And these pairings aren't just random. They're carefully thought out. It's all about balance. That rich, heavy steak, it gets paired with something creamy and comforting like mashed potatoes. The light, delicate grilled fish, it's perfectly complemented by some bright, steamed veggies. Every side is there to make the main dish even better. All right, so we've got our structure down. Appetizer, then the main. Seems pretty straightforward. But now we get to a culinary curveball, a dish that kind of breaks all the rules. Let's talk about the controversial course. So, where on earth does cheese fit into all of this? Is it a starter? Is it something else? This one ingredient is probably the single biggest point of confusion on a menu. And here's why. Unlike everything else that has its fixed spot in the lineup, the cheese plate, it's a traveler. Its place in the meal completely changes depending on where you are in the world. This is where we hit a major cultural fork in the road. In the US, you'll often see cheese served right at the beginning as an appetizer. But in Europe, especially in France, it's served after the main course as a kind of savory bridge between your dinner and your dessert. Now, you'll usually see some amazing classics on there, like a creamy brie, a rich camembert, or a punchy roquefort. But what's funny is, people don't argue so much about what cheese to serve, they argue about when it shows up at the table. So whether you just finished your steak or you just had your cheese plate, the savory part of the meal is officially over. And now it's time to move into the final act. And that, of course, brings us to dessert. This is the sweetened part of our three-step plan. It's that final, indulgent moment that's designed to give you a wonderful sense of closure to the whole meal. And this is where we get all the endings we know and love. A decadent slice of chocolate cake, maybe a scoop of refreshing ice cream, or an elegant fruit tart. It's the meal's sweet, grand finale. But hold on, there is often one last little step. After all that sweetness, a meal often ends with a cup of coffee or tea. It's just a nice moment to kind of relax, digest, and keep the conversation going. So,
When you really boil it down, the structure of a meal is pretty much the same everywhere. The one big wild card, the key cultural clue to look out for, is where they put the cheese. Knowing that one little detail is the real secret to mastering the menu.
So there you have it. You are not lost anymore. You get the story from beginning to end. The only question left is, the next time you go out, are you going to have your cheese at the beginning or save it for later? Now the choice is all yours.